All right, good morning in Nigeria. And from where you are, I don't know what time it is, but I know you guys are ready to speak about what we're about to start talking about. That's the continued bombings in northern Nigeria by Boko Haram. Guys, I'd like to thank you for joining. First of all, we have Olumuyiwa. Olumuyiwa, where are you calling from? And just briefly introduce yourself.
Well, Olumuyiwa Babatunde Amwa is my name. I'm live from the city of Dunedin in New Zealand. We pride ourselves as people who reside in the last and the farthest country in the world.
All right, thank you. Carol?
My name is Carol. I'm calling from London, England.
All right, thank you very much. Buddy?
Yes, nice to meet you guys. I'm Gary. I'm calling from Prague, Czech Republic, the central city in Europe, and one of the most loveliest place you could ever be.
Well, good words. Everyone giving good words about where he is. We have Kushimo Oluwaseun. Can you hear us? All right, he can't hear us, but well, I'm in Lagos, and Lagos is also the commercial capital of Nigeria. Beautiful city, also, just like all the other cities you are. So just going straight forward now, Amuyiwa, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts? I mean, I think Nigerians finally have something to smile about. 58 billion naira raised for victims of Boko Haram. What's your take on that?
Well, as laudable as that objective seems, I think that if care is not taken, if it's not properly managed, it might end up going the normal way the others have gone to. I have a strong feeling that some elements would really, if the government doesn't monitor it, there's a very high possibility that the funds wouldn't serve the purposes for which it was set up for in the first instance. So I would argue that it sounds like a very good initiative, although I question the fact that the government is asking Nigerians to contribute out of the little funds that they do have to such a venture. But we can't really do anything about that. Fine enough or fair enough, people are contributing. I do hope sincerely that the money is spent exactly for the purpose for which it is set up for. And I do also hope that it solves part of the worry isn't about food by the government. My major worry is that why are you talking about a reconstruction fund or a rehabilitation fund when you haven't even solved the crisis? If you then make attempts to start rebuilding these places that these Boko Haram guys are so much desecrated now, what gives us the impression that they are not going to strike again tomorrow? That's one. More importantly, how do you identify a victim of Boko Haram? I mean, how do you identify the victims? What mechanisms are going to be put in place towards ensuring that the money gets into the proper hands? There are certainly a whole lot of questions that needs to be asked, and one I see, secondly, a whole issue that has to do with misspend of public funds or funds of that particular fund settling because it's not faking. So the government needs to get its priority right. It needs to define exactly what purposes that money would serve. It also needs to tell Nigerians or tell the beneficiaries what you need to do to qualify to be a beneficiary of the fund. And more importantly, the government should not put before the horse. First things first. We need to stabilize that environment before we can begin to talk of rehabilitation. How it cubed our security forces. How well have they been able to do that? To securing the eastern part of Nigeria, and indeed the whole of Nigeria, because it doesn't look like the case is a northeastern issue again. So I think there are a whole lot of questions that need to be asked. I think there are a whole lot of answers that also needs to be provided by the government. But it's a good initiative. I have a very fundamental problems with the way the money is being gathered in first instance, but people are contributing, no problems. But let's see how it goes. We'll see how it goes in the next 1, 2, 3 months. From history doesn't tell us that this government has a reputation of managing things well. Nobody, I mean, for one, I don't know what is that was to be part of the first subsidy lages that Nigerians were promised in those days. I can't see any of those buses again anyway. Maybe because I'm far away from Nigeria, but let's hope that this time around the government gets its acts right, and let's hope that the government does the right thing. Let's also hope that we overcome this quagmire on time. For me, I think it's just a fairly good step in the right direction. I have problems with the implementation and the management of those funds that we've gotten in the end.
All right. Thank you for your own thoughts, giving us your thoughts. Carol, I'll come to you. What's your thought on this? I mean, Miwa raised some reservations about it, but also gave a little bit of hope as to what he thinks. But what are your own thoughts?
Um, Thanks, Victor. I think yeah, Miwa raised a lot of issues, very good issues, and I think the main thing from my point of view, and from most people's point of view, is I still don't think the government is sincere, or they want or really want to end Boko Haram, and I don't think they really have the will, the political will to do that. Because if we can raise 58 billion in a day or in a few days, it's clear that money really is not our problem in ending Boko Haram. The president went to the House and said he wanted $1 billion to end the insurgency, and if he has raised well about roughly about 40% of that money in a day or two within Nigeria. So why are you going to get a loan to stop the insurgency? And as Miwa said, you're getting a loan, so you're trying to raise money to help the victims, but then you still have these insurgents that you haven't stopped. So you're firefighting, you're firefighting something that really you haven't stopped the underlying issues, but then you're going on to. But anyway, I still think the government is insincere, and the most important thing is the citizens themselves. Because I asked someone to raise a poll the other day, and it seems like the government, if they really want to end Boko Haram, you need the citizens to be involved in any Boko Haram. If you go around now and if I ask everyone here on this call that, if are you comfortable enough, if you see anything suspicious, that you would go to the security agents to say, okay, by the way, I saw this and that. No, I probably wouldn't report anything to security agents, because there's no confidence in the security agents. Citizens are not confident in the security agents, and that's the first thing that I think the government needs to do. They need to secure the confidence and the trust of the citizens to report issues to them whenever things happen or whenever they see anything. But that's not happening, and they are not doing any more to gain the trust of the citizens. London was bombed in 2005 on the 7th of July, and since then, whenever you get into the underground or buses or wherever, what you hear day in and day out is, if you see anything suspicious, report to a member of staff. But the US was bombed also in 9/11, and they do sort of the same thing. But in Nigeria, if you do that, or what we've seen more of the government, or more from the presidency or wherever, is blaming this terror on opposition. They've spent so much time blaming the opposition and dealing with the real issues. And I would like to see them engaging the citizens more, giving them hope, giving them trust that you can come and report this to us so that we can help solve this problem. We can raise 58 billion, we can raise 100 billion or whatever it is, but then that 100 billion can be gone in 2 days, because Boko Haram can then decide to destroy places that cost more and more money. But then we need to end this terror, and the government needs to do more in helping us and helping themselves to end this terror. Nigerians are dying by the day, and it doesn't seem as if it's going to subside. I think Boko Haram has become more brazen than they were 2-3 years ago. So it's good they've raised money, but then it doesn't seem as if this Boko Haram issue is going to end anytime soon.
All right, Carol, just like you said, I hope we do. Of course, like you said, if you ask anyone on this call, but I believe that we on this call should be able to, pass on to the security operatives necessary suspicious movements. Godi, I'll come to you now. We've spent some time now talking about this fund. But then if you look at the fact that in recent time, after the collaboration, after international agencies or countries offered to help Nigeria, I think we've recorded more of this blast. What haven't we done right?
I think it's the same thing that is we have been doing is the same thing that we have been doing, and that is we talk about the achievements rather than work hard to make sure that things happen. Yeah, since the international community did come in to say they are going to support, there have still been lots of bombings, and I'm still wondering why after a lot of statements that were issued that they know where the girls are, or some people said that there was a negotiator negotiating on behalf of the government and the people, the terrorists, that they were going to release the girls soon. Even the special assistant of the president came on air and said that we know where the girls are and they will be released soon. So and it has not happened. That is over how many months now? So I don't think that there is anything. What I would say is that perhaps this international committee, they have come in and they have seen the way things are on ground, and they are not completely satisfied or not able to make any swift changes. We beat our chest about things and then that we are able to achieve something, but I don't see any tangible results. Look at what is happening. They have changed the style of bombing now. They are using girls, and the female bombers now are now going on rampage everywhere. So I think that our effort in curbing terrorism has really been slow and shadowed by a lot of interest, personal and political interest. And like the other speakers did say, we are raising this money now, and because a lot of people are contributing because it's election year next year, and we know the people who are milking this nation dry. They are the ones who are going to come and contribute the part of the loot to this whole program. And then when the president gets back to power, they actually have their way of securing their investment back. So it is not you and I that actually can contribute this money. And so the people who actually are looting are the ones who are giving back part of the loot. I'm sorry to say, with respect to a lot of the people who I know that were part of this fundraising that actually did raise good money. There are genuine people there, but we know that people taken from government is a regular occurrence in our country. The thing is, how can we, or how can they use whatever that has been raised to really see how to help this region? I did say a few weeks back that now that the bombings are happening in the north, nobody is thinking strategically what is going to be the next move. Nobody is thinking about how are these people thinking, how are they actually going to react. They say that we should support the government. Yes, we support the government. There is a campaign every day on channels television about how Americans stood behind the president, how Britain stood behind their prime minister, and how if we making some people making inflammatory statements. That is a problem with our country, that they are still pushing out this campaign that because somebody said something in 2011 that there's going to be blood. That is why we still have we have terrorists in this country sending the wrong message and not doing anything to actually curb the issue. So we have too many people who are, I say, too many chefs in the kitchen, but not cooking anything, and that is a problem. Because who are you going to ask to step aside for somebody who has a better idea or a better mindset to actually solve this problem? A lot of people say they are security consultants. If you check their CVs or whatever, they were never even enrolled in the military before. What are they consulting? They don't even have CCTV camera in their shops, and they call themselves security consultants. And they come in on air and saying all kinds of things that they read this, they read that. There are a few people who actually, when they talk, you know that they actually know what they are saying, but a lot of people do actually bandy themselves as if they are really having anything to offer, and that is a problem. So international security experts coming in must have been feeling like, what are we doing here? And like I said before, if the people, you want somebody to help you and the person comes in and sees that there is really nothing on ground for them to start with, I don't know, they are not going to come to try to overhaul everything, because it would look as if that they are going to take over. They are taking over your primary responsibility. So what are we going to do? Well, what should we do? The government wants to borrow money. Perhaps they have seen, or they have gotten a report. The president may have gotten a report from this international security support that we have a weaker arsenal, or we have something that is not able to fight the terrorists, and now he wants to see how they can refurbish or upgrade what we have. But then, it's not enough just thinking about getting the loan and using it to, equip yourself. It is, what are the strategies? How are you going to ensure that everything that you plan would actually come in place? And that is the thing that is holding us in actually fighting this issue, because we are not thinking ahead of the people who we are supposed to be fighting. We're just 2-3 steps behind them, and it is not helping. We don't know today. I don't know. Over the weekend, was there a bombing? Perhaps. We don't know what is going to happen within the next 24 hours, where the next targets are. And here we are. Yes, the Chibok girls that have been that were being adopted, some have been released. I was writing on Twitter the other day. Has there been any checks to understand to find out if some of these girls are not being used now as suicide bombers? Because there is nothing that is out of place for these guys to do. If they could adopt people, if they could go to a community and hack teenagers and children down and capture, there's nothing they couldn't stop them from strapping one of the girls and say, okay, you want to run, you go somewhere. They target, they blow up there. They say, we don't know how experienced these guys are in the use of modern technology in blowing up things. We don't know. We just think it's a bunch of malams that know nothing. No, they have proven to us that they know more than we can anticipate. So a lot of things really needs to. We need to, the people who are running the country needs to sit down at some point and begin to ask themselves serious internal questions in their mind. Are they really sure that they
All right.
know what they are doing?
Okay, sad. I mean, sad commentary there, but unfortunately, that's where we are at the moment. Carol, I'll come back to you now. If you look at it, the month of July has really been bad. So many bombings. I mean, it's quite sad, but how do we change this? What aren't we doing?
In my comment earlier, what we're not doing, I don't think the government is doing enough. Like I said, 2015 is in sight. They are spending more time blaming the opposition, trying to link it to. I think Buhari almost got killed by a bomb, and then you saw some people were still saying that he was